That's a great looking sweater you have there, Will.
This old thing.
Yeah, a couple new WoFlow swag items. Very nice. Very nice. Great time in New Orleans last week at the offsite. Everyone had a wonderful time.
It's ironic buying these real thick-weighted, heavy swags for a offsite in the swamp where it's 90 degrees and hot, but I'm excited now entering the holiday festive spirit with my big oversized hoodie. So thank you for
I agree.
organizing the swag.
I agree. I agree. Literally, the moment we got back to San Francisco, it's like freezing. I mean, freezing. I'm sorry. I know 50 degrees isn't freezing, but we like 65 degrees. That's just our weather. So 50 is freezing, 80 sweltering. So 68, beautiful. Anyway, welcome, Will. Welcome to the Friday Flow, everybody. The special edition. They're always special editions, but this one's very special edition. We don't have actually like new content like to talk about, like, new technology, blah blah blah, but I did something very cool that I just want to share, and we're going to base this episode around it. So I am getting married. Well, technically I'm already married, but I'm having my wedding next month. And so one of my projects that I was tasked to come up with a rough draft for was the seating chart. So if you've ever had a wedding, or if you've ever had to just make a seating chart for, 100, 150 people, or even 50 people, it's very challenging. And so I tried to find if there's software out there to help me. And I couldn't find anything that was just like dead simple. It's like, I just have 5 big tables. I have 150 people. I want to take those people and just start putting them around a table and then like organizing them and just playing with it. I'm a
And I
visual
can
person.
concur. I had this problem earlier this year and we resulted to getting some very large pieces of paper, drawing big circles on it, and then using chopped up post-it notes to represent people. And yeah, it was a big thing. It was on my table. It was actually kind of fun being like kind of creative, but yeah, it was a pain in the ass. And then once you're finally happy with it, you then have to bring it into your like software anyway and then figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, a general problem. I'm not saying there's no other way to do it, but it's just like one of those annoying things that as a software person, especially as a developer, I always think, oh, this is like the easiest thing. Why does this not exist? So anyway, couldn't find a good one. There probably are some out there, so maybe some of you in the comments will like give me like literally the exact thing I built, but tell me it already exists. That's totally fine. That's beyond the point. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna just build it with AI, and I'm gonna try to build exactly what I want without writing a single line of code. So actually, on my way to New Orleans last week, I had a 4-ish hour flight. And so I said, okay, I'm going to build the app, and I'm also going to build my seating chart. So I want to build the app, but then the intention is to actually have my final list, at least the rough draft. So what better way to build an app and iterate on it than to actually use it in real time and then build features around
Dog
you actually building it.
fooding.
So it was super cool. I'm going to just share my screen right now, and I'm just going to give you the final result. And then I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about what I did. And then I'd love to ask Will a couple questions about, where does this lead us next? Like, how does this apply to other companies, current companies, or is this just for like new companies? Anyway, so let me
Let's
share my
see it.
screen.
Demo
Let me share my
Fridays.
screen.
I'm excited.
Can you see it?
Wow.
It's beautiful. And yes, these are random names. I did not include my actual seating chart. So
Did
I
you
just
make dark
added,
mode as well as light
it
mode?
just by default was dark mode.
All
So
right.
so I basically prompted it and said, hey, I have this problem. I need to make a seating chart. I have 5 big tables. Each table has 30 people, and they're narrow. So it's just 15 people on both sides. And so I'm just going to tell you what it ended up with, and then I'll kind of walk you through it. So here's my 5 tables. And then on the left, I have 150 people. These are not the real people, but these are 150 people. And how did I get these people in? Well, I obviously needed to import them. So upload guest list, beautiful. And then if I want to manually add guests, I can do that here, or I can clear all data. Okay, so here we go. I'm just going to go, okay, yeah, let's go. Yeah, David needs to be here. Danielle needs to be here. oh, actually, Emily should actually be here and Daniel should be here. Actually, no, Daniel doesn't belong in this group, so I'm going to control click removes him. So these are all just like very basic features, but when you first started, the first thing I said was, first, I just need to see all my people on the left, and I need to see the tables on the right. And so it spit out like a very elementary version of that. And then I said, great, I want to be able to click a person and put them at a table. And then it let me do that. And so I
I'm
basically
interested.
just
Talk
went
me through
through.
your tech stack.
So, okay, good point, good point. So I knew that I could just use Next.js, and this is not going to be a technical conversation for everybody, but Next.js is just like a super easy React stack. And honestly, it helps to know how to code. It helps to understand. Obviously, I have a big background in all of this, but I didn't write a single line of code. But I did know like where to go to like look for things and to help me with that process. But I just downloaded a basic React app, a Next.js React app. And then I opened Cursor, which is
Hmm.
basically a text editor on steroids. And we've talked about Cursor in a previous episode of the Friday Flow. And Cursor gives you the ability to interact with it just in plain text, like, hey, make me this file that does this. Hey, make me a thing that does this. So I just had a general React app that I didn't write any code for yet. It's just like a template. And then I opened up the Cursor text and said, here's what I want. Give me this app. That was my first prompt was, give me the app. I need this. I need to be able to add 150 people and 5 tables on the right. And so it just did it. And I could see it in the web browser. And I was like, great. So I just walked through the step by step, like, this is what I need. And then I would go and try it. And so I'd be like, okay, actually I need to be able to remove a person from the list. Like, this is like something random, right? And so these are things that would just come up as I was actually interacting with the project itself, and like truly I was actually, using it. So I was using it and realizing what are some key features that I need to make this better until I finished the 150 people. And actually we do have like a very good seating chart now. And it took me about 2 hours to do the entire application and my seating chart. And so I used the me creating my seating chart to actually finish making the project itself. And it worked really well. So it was a crazy experiment, but it worked very successfully. And I even got to deploy it onto Vercel's like easy deploy system. I put in a database so it persisted data so I can send it to my wife and be like, well, this is like, here, what do you think of this? She can make her own chart, send it to me. So I mean, like, it's pretty feature rich for a 2 hour project, and it actually accomplished my goal. I would say it's the first time that I've truly start to finish created something in AI, an application that really really worked for me, and it did. I mean, it's an app, and anyone could use it for $10.
So
Not yet, but
no, I think it's awesome. I think it's an itch that you need to scratch, and so you went away and did it. You Googled it briefly and decided there wasn't something there that does it, so you went and did it yourself. So I think that's really cool. It's a very powerful proof of how to go from nothing to a solid app in 2 hours. Interestingly, we've both been using an awesome app called Wed Sites to make our wedding-based websites and a bunch of other stuff. Weddings are a very interesting like vertical because you can go super deep into like the feature sets that this product could utilize. This totally should be folded into there, so you should definitely try and sell it to websites. But then the other side of that is, does a something like a wedding need a deep vertical solution, or could you just have spun up 5 to 10 different individual projects like this, of which then you could have organized your whole wedding, or is it just worth paying the $100 one-time fee or whatever it was to get the feature set? What do you think? As like a non-developer
yeah.
as well, if we're thinking not today, but
Yeah.
in a couple years' time?
So there's, I guess, for this project, this is a what I would consider a non-consumer facing project or a non-guest facing project. So none of my guests are ever gonna see this. If I totally botch it, it doesn't matter. I'll just do what you did and I'll put up pieces of paper in my living room and like do it that way. So the risk was zero. There was very low risk. If I were to at this moment like spin up something like websites, which I actually feel like would be pretty easy to do, it's not that complicated. I'd say websites definitely has some issues with it. It's a great $100 service and it does the job, but if you're emailing all of your users through this service, they click on the RSVP link, it has to like know who it is without them logging in because they've clicked through a link in an email. Like there's some complexities in there, and there's definitely some room for pretty bad user experiences. I would pay the money to just at this moment, I don't trust my 2-hour project to take that responsibility. However, in a few years, if it's, flawless, this type of stuff is flawless, maybe I even just write, hey, I really like websites. Here's a video of what it does. Make it for me. And then it just spins it up and I can just use it. I mean, that's definitely not a today thing, but in the future, absolutely. I know Chamath from All In Pod. That's how most people know him. He's got 8090 as like a new business. And so this is like a super interesting idea. He thought of it a year or so ago and it resonates with me. I think that it has a lot of merit to it. The concept is he's with like really utilizing AI. He's building 80% of the features of well-known sites for 90% discount, meaning like if you have if there's like a dog walking application, really it's just software, right? Yeah, there might be like, actually I guess dog walking is a bad example because that's kind of a marketplace. But if you are let's say you're a dog boarding business, and to automate the process of having people like reserve space in your boarding facility, like you can have software help you with that. So that's something that's like a SaaS product. And the reason that came to my mind is because I actually thought of that like a couple of years ago because we use those and they're like so terrible. I'm like, this got to be a better way. Anyway, the feature set's pretty slim, and there's a lot of like edge case features that people want, and so like they become more robust. But like, is it worth like the very pricey like tag, or are you happy with 80% of it for almost free? And so I think that's like, this is proof that that is something that can really happen, and it's very easy to do. But again, from the beginning I said, is this going to work really well for like existing projects as well? I don't think so. It's very good to get like a proof of concept up and running, but once you like get into the weeds and you want it to scale, I don't see that happening yet.
Yeah, I agree. I think sort of deep vertical SaaS is not going anywhere just yet. Certainly I think the tail end can be and should be disrupted. And I think that means the prevalence of no-code tooling. We built a mobile application for our offsite, which was super fun for me to do. It took me a few hours, but you can agree it's like kind of a fully featured app. It doesn't have much in need for coding experience. I did it with a completely no-code tool. It just is a black screen. Okay, cool. Yeah, there it is. See?
Look at that.
Amazing. And so there's just like a more of a democratization of this kind of tail end of software, especially, and I think it starts with like personal software. So you built this for yourself. I built that for, a 40-person offsite. So I think it's getting democratized at kind of the grassroots level to begin with. I think we're still quite far away from disrupting the CRM players like Salesforce with one, but certainly to your point, that's what Chamath's full intention is doing. And so, yeah, it's an interesting time. I think technology has always been deeply deflationary, and I don't think this is the next cycle of that curve further reducing as well. So Salesforce, if they're truly getting disrupted, are going to have to massively reduce their pricing as well. This all like is a net for the consumer or the business buyer. They're getting more stuff for less. This is moving us much more to that age of abundance that futurists and like myself really see as a great future state for humanity. And so it's happening. It's not happening in the next 2 days. or the next 2 years, but it's cool to see at the grassroots level. I'm certainly spending a bit more time thinking through my own projects that I can do internally or externally, like the app. And yeah, I'm curious to see what everyone else is doing as well. Like, I really hope that people are curious enough that they're leaning into this, even if if they spend 2 hours of a flight and then make a bodge job and it doesn't work, nothing's been lost here. Whereas
Yeah,
if you were trying to do this as a developer, you might have spent 3 weeks on it previously and a lot of Stack Overflow queries and still not got anything to show for it. So I think it's massively reducing that learning curve, which can only be beneficial for humanity.
totally agree. And I'll end with one comment. We were using a board called Retro for our retros for engineering. Today, it's not working that well. It's kind of getting expensive. Tony just slacked me right before this call, and I just read it. And Tony's one of our engineering managers. And he said, just made an Eng retro board with a single prompt on bolt.new, which is another site that just kind of builds apps from prompts. And he gave me the mind blown emoji and he showed it to me and it looks amazing. We're probably going to start using it. So that is an amazing example.
Amazing.
Of a retro board is so simple and it's a lot of like engineering 101 type of projects, but it's still hard to find a good one cheap. Like it's all per seat. And once you have like 25 people in it, paying a couple $100 a month, like, it's kind of dumb. So here we go. Great example. Seating chart, retro board. It's all possible. What else can you build? That's it. Thanks, everyone. And we'll see you. We probably won't see you until the new year, actually, because Will's going on his honeymoon next week to Japan. Have a fantastic time. And then we have Thanksgiving. And then we have my wedding. And then we have my mini moon. And then we have Christmas and holidays and Hanukkah, and then we have New Year's. So we'll see you in January. Thanks, everyone.
Signing off. Happy Friday
Adios.
Flow, everyone.
Bye.